Hey everyone. Okay, I'm going to give a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes before I get started today. It's Wednesday, it's midweek. Yesterday, the whole entire day, I felt like it was Saturday. So it's only Wednesday. A few more days till Saturday. I'm excited today too for our little chat. Hey Terry. Glad you could come. I hope you had a fantastic birthday the other day. It's Terry's birthday on Monday. Day after mine. That's why we like each other so much. So today I want to do some really fun things. I want to show you some mandalas and show you a few of them I've done for a while now, and then do one with you guys. So I'm just going to wait another minute or two and make sure that people like my mom, where is she? She better get on soon. I'm just kidding. It's foggy today, so I'm hoping that sun comes through so I can do some more gardening. I have been planting like crazy, and we just built a vegetable garden. We have not had a vegetable garden for, hey Karen, for a long time, like 10 years I think. I think when the kids were little, there was so much going on. I think we just didn't water it enough. Yeah, Karen, you got some foggy English weather. I know that all too well. So I'm hoping it burns off. But on my vegetable garden, I'm really excited because it's right outside the front of my art studio, so I can keep an eye on it and not let it all dry out. And so that's really fun. And the kids are enjoying looking at that lettuce growing. So the other thing I wanted to tell you, which is so fun, that happened the other day, right after Monday's live, a friend of mine, Renee, did a guest interview with me. I was her guest, and we did it on Zoom, and it was so much fun. And so she's an incredible artist, and we met at Jean Oliver's workshop in Colorado last year. And the in-person workshops are so much fun because you can really meet a lot of people and have a tremendous bond. And so Renee and I did a Zoom chat where she asked me a whole bunch of questions about how I got started in art and what led me to leaving my job a couple years ago. So that I'm going to post on my Facebook probably right after this. I'm going to post it there, and it's also going to be a link on my newsletter. So if you guys haven't signed up on my newsletter, go ahead and sign up, and I'll send you guys that link. But Renee is awesome. She does charcoals and pastels and beautiful faces, which faces scare me so much. I'm intimidated, let's say, by faces. And so it's really fun when you can see another artist who does them just like so beautifully and seems without any effort. And so check out that interview. It's about 30 minutes. It's really fun. We did it on Monday, and it's going to be on YouTube and on her site as well. So the reason I chose to do mandalas is because it's sort of like a little part of Zentangling, and it's like a little offshoot, I think, even though mandalas came way before Zentangling. But it's that sort of meditative process to using pen and just paper and really getting into your circular mandala and thinking about, life and just even being peaceful and still, and which is so important right now. So I think, from all of the feedback I got from you guys doing your Zentangling, which is so great, I love that, I thought mandalas would be a good kind of next step. And I hope you guys have your paper and your pen. I'm hoping my mom does, because I know she did last time. And I do them every once in a while. I love doing them. Sometimes my mandalas are a little crooked, and that's totally okay. So I did a little research too that I'm going to share with you guys and show you some mandalas in my sketchbook. And also I'm going to be doing one. I have these little artist tiles that I use. They're just 6 by 6 inch. They're a little bit like a Bristol board, so I don't think you can tell, but they're nice, like thick stock. And because they're already a square, I feel like, okay, I can make a circle in there because it's all symmetrical. Or at least we'll try to do it. I'm sure who knows what will happen today, but we'll try to do it. And hey, Roxanne and Judy and Corinne, thank you guys for joining. I'm so excited. I really hope you either check out my mandalas or actually do one with me. So for now, I'm gonna show you what I have done and also part of this painting that I have one on, okay? So I'm gonna flip you guys back over, and then after we're done, we can chat a little bit more, and if you have any questions, always put them in here and I'll always get back to you guys, okay? All right, so you guys hold on, and I hope you're all having a fantastic Wednesday. I know some of you guys, some of your states are kind of getting back into a little bit of normalcy, and even in Europe, I think. And out here in California, I'm pretty sure we have another month to go. So my kids are chomping at the bit. All right, hold on. We're gonna go down and zoom down here onto some sketchbooks. I'm just gonna straighten this up in a minute and not drop this. Okay. All right, still not straight. Hold on tight. Hold on. My tripod is okay. We'll just do the best we can. I think that's pretty good. All right, it's a little bit wonky, so let me just give it one more go at straightening it. Okay, I think that's better. There we go. Now I'm gonna bring that back over there. Okay, so I'll show you some of the mandalas that I have been doing, and I think they're all on that side. I use just my Micron #1, and the reason I do that is because I find that the line is thick enough. I usually don't color these in, but you can, and I have parts of them that are colored. I'll show you, so I can really kind of see my lines, so I do them all in there. And the sketchbooks I'm showing you guys are all on the Dilutions Creative Journals, which I love, love, love. They're not white. They're not a stark white. See the difference? And that doesn't really bother me, but I love the paper quality. It's nice and thick. And I know some of you guys have been working on paper when you use anything wet, it can kind of get a little crumbly, or sometimes the Stabilo crayons go through. So I recommend, you know, a sketchbook that's got some meat to the paper. You can hear that. It's like a Bristol, like the same sort of quality as this. And I really wish they had one that was all white, but that's okay if they don't, and I'm fine with that. But I do like these books. And Susanna, who is in Ireland, was bummed because she doesn't always fill them out. But you know what? I never fill mine in. I like to buy new ones, so I try to work on as much as I can. Okay, so let's see. These were ours. These were the, if people are new onto the Facebook Lives, and we did this last week. This is our fun Zentangling that we did, and I just thought, you know, keeping with the black and white design. So this is a mandala that I love to do a little heart in the middle. Not always, but I really like doing that heart in the middle. And the thing with mandalas is you start small and you gradually, evenly make it into a circle. And you can see, you know, it's not perfect. It's kind of wonky, but that's okay. Here's another one that I did with my little Doodle Rose in the middle and sort of went along the outside. It reminds me of like a doily. Here's one I did with a heart. My hearts are really never always perfectly symmetrical, but I like that. It kind of gives it a little fun look. Also, I just grabbed, I think it was like a Tombow marker, or any marker will do, or even colored pencils. Besides the mandalas, the Zentangles too, once you're done creating them, you can take a photocopy of them and use them for coloring. You can take a photo of them, send it to your kids or your grandkids or whoever, and then they could color them in. There's lots of things you can do once you have your black and white, or you could go straight to coloring it in, whatever you feel like. This one over here is another one with a little tiny heart. And I think I was doing this one last night, just kind of building and building and building, using a lot of organic shapes and some little triangles. And then this one is so fun. When I was researching mandalas, I had no idea there was such a thing as a Lotus Mandela, but there is. And I was so happy because I love sort of the shape. And On a lotus mandala, there is usually 8 petals. Okay, so this is sort of like the reflection in the water. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that symbolizes the 8 paths towards Buddhism. And that's a whole nother chapter to discuss at some point, because I got to be honest, I don't really know them, but I know that the 8 is a very symbolic number in the culture, and so that is why there are 8 petals. And often, I printed this out too to show you guys, often there are 8 of the shapes, right? So there's 8 little petals in here, and then there's 8 bigger petals here. And how, these are made, I grabbed this off the computer. Mine are never this perfect. And if you really wanted it to be perfect, you could draw some lines this way on your paper first with pencil. And I'm going to go straight with my marker, so you'll see. But you can put your lines down first, and that way you have a guide. So when you're doing your design, you're not all over the place. If you'd like. So the lotus flower petals are very symbolic, and you'll see them a lot in mandalas. And that was something I didn't know. And I'm going to put this painting underneath my phone so you can see. I'm hoping the whole thing will show up. So, okay, here we go. This is the bottom of a painting that I have had on my wall forever and ever and ever. And I'm not quite happy with it, and I always thought this was just a little wonky. So now I'm inspired to redo this and do the 8 lotus petals, because this is a shape that I do quite a bit in my art, and I had no idea there was that connection until I started reading about it. So I just wanted to show you. Sometimes I'll do this type of sketch that I do on paper and somehow incorporate it into my painting. So anyway, I just thought that was fun. So I'm gonna pull that one back off. And then I had some older mandalas I wanted to show you before we get started. Let's see if I can get them all in here. Okay, so let's see. This one, this is, I took a Rumi workshop, and in the workshop, oh my goodness, I think it was a long time ago, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And in the workshop, we stopped to do some mandalas. And this one I did with all flowers, and I wasn't really concerned about the line work as much. I wasn't, trying to make everything connect. This was a little bit more free flowing, and it's a way to sort of get that circular idea going down and not worrying about it being so perfectly lined up. But I did do little designs like these were all on the corners. I started with this flower, and so there is a pattern to it. So a lot like Zentangling, you're conscious of what your next pattern is going to be. So the pattern work helps the mindfulness, and so that was really fun. And then I really like this one down here. And then clearly that's like, I don't know what that is, a P or something. I have a hard time getting the center to be perfectly circular. And then this one, I think I did this one the day after that workshop, which is funny. That was also during an April time frame, but years ago. And these were done with a thinner pen. It was probably done with a Pitt marker, which is here. This one here is also great, the Pitt Artist Pen in a size small, or S. I still think S stands for small. And then there was one other, oh, I know where it is. Let's see, hold on. Not to get you guys. This was a little one that I did with some green markers. And, oh, you look, okay, so 2015, so this was 5 years ago. I often date sometimes my little sketches, because I have a lot of these books, and I often forget, what date I did them on. So it's kind of fun to go back and think, okay, I was doing that in April. So this one, I used some really thin markers, and I added some color to it as I was working on it. I did it in a color pen. And then another way to do mandalas with color is, well, hopefully this will show up, This was in one of my sketchbooks where I had the pink acrylic inks down, and then I took one of these, like either a white gel pen or one of these white pens, the Uniball. The Uniballs are great. You can get these on Amazon. Uniballs are great. And did it with white. So I kind of like the just simple white or black ones. So those are some of my mandalas, and so I'm going to do one with you guys and make sure I am straight and centered. Okay, so I'm going to do it right in here. So I've got my artist tiles, Strathmore. They're great, they're fun. This is what I do most of my little drawings that go on my tea towels. I always start with this size, and it kind of helps me when I'm doing any art that's gonna go on my tea towels. I try to keep it to this size because I end up scanning them and shrinking them down, and I want them all to be even. So I always start with the same 6 by 6 inch tile. And for today, because I want to be somewhat straight and centered, there's a way that when I'm at home and if I'm watching TV and I'm doing some mandalas, I just really just draw a circle, just simple, and it's usually a little bit off-centered. But for today, I thought if you guys want to try this too at home, just grab something that you can start it with. And so I'm starting with this washi tape. I can't even pronounce it, but isn't this actually cool? I got this on Etsy at an English shop, and I got lots of these in different colors. So when I do my packaging on my stores, it's all in these kind of fun tapes. But I digress. Okay, so I get in the middle somewhere. Again, I don't really care whereabouts it is. And so I'm going to just take my marker and get my inside started. And another thing too, so for instance, for anybody out there who is a little concerned, I think I already said this once, but you can then take a pencil. Look at this pencil. This is obviously, I probably used it for a painting, but you can draw a line here, 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 and here. So across, and that will help you kind of get it all symmetrical as you get farther and farther along on your circles, okay? So I'm gonna try and do one with some of these lotus flowers, and I might still do my heart I'm gonna do the little Doodle Rose, seeing as we've been doing those. So I'm gonna start in the middle. I always start in the middle, and I'm going to do the 3 petals first. And then, let's see, I'm gonna maybe add 8 petals to this, just so I'm sort of in order of the lotus, even though it's not a lotus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna go 7, 8. So it's a little off center, but that's okay. And maybe in the inside, I'll do a little heart. Okay, so I've got my inside, and again, you could do it more, perfectly even like that and start from the beginning out, going complete repeat, or you could be something more free form. So in order to do 8 petals, I'm gonna start with my top, and I'm just drawing a petal there, a petal here. Now, if I really wanted to be perfect, I would do it all in pencil, and it would take me hours because, you'd be redoing it again. So just think of these as more fun. So I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need 4 more. So I don't want to do one that's going to take up the exact size of this space because I want them somewhat even. So I'm just going to go inside a little bit. So I have my 8, and you can tell they're not perfectly all aligned. And then you can have fun going into the petals, making little designs. And so mandalas have been around before, I think it was 1st century BC where they were found. So that's pretty amazing how long they've been around. And, okay, so I've got my 8 petals here, and I might add a little bit of fun to these petals in here. And I try to keep things, you know, pretty black and white. So I fill in some of these. It just gives it a little bit of extra fun when you're finished, because you've got some areas that are solid black and some areas that are solid white. And again, you could do the same thing I'm doing where I'm coloring in black. You could do this with a color if you wanted. Okay, so I've got my first sort of ring, right? And so this is when you build upon the ring. I think my next, and I'm gonna just free willy this. So my next shape, I'm gonna do a little arch right here. And so mandala, the actual word is, it means circle. So I got, you know, I learned a lot. You can learn so much online. I was telling my kids yesterday, I was looking on how to do something, and I looked over at one of my kids. I said, you guys have it so easy. Back in the day, it would take me a few days to get an answer of a question I have, and I just pop my questions right into Google. So now I'm putting a little tiny circle on the outside of those 8 petals. And let's see, I think what I'm going to do next is do a triangle. So I am going to do a triangle like this. And I'm just going to see where that takes me. And if you're kind of stuck on what actually to do next, go back to the Zentangle idea of just finding a line or a shape and just repeating it. So, okay, so I've got my next layer out, and now I think I'm going to do that little circle behind these points. They always remind me of crowns. So I've got some circles. And the interesting thing I read about the Lotus Mandala is that I guess the gist is that when you stare at these mandalas and the Lotus Mandala, it will give you enlightenment. So I thought that was awesome. I guess there are some Lotus Mandalas that have 1,000 petals, and so you're staring at that for a very long time. Very meditative, right? So you can be staring at that and meditating at the same time. Okay, so I've got my little half circles, and then maybe I will do some lines. Okay, so I'm going to do these 5. I'm going to do 5 lines. Hopefully you guys are drawing along with me. And if you're more comfortable to turn your paper around as you go around your circle. I'm not doing that today, but I've done that before where I just turn my paper as I'm drawing, so I'm not sort of drawing upside down. So I have these guys, and now I'm going to do another kind of arch, so I'm connecting. So I want to sort of connect my points. So I'm here, and I'm going to connect to there. Oops, a little wonky, but that's all right. So I'm going to connect. Okay, so I've got a little dirty. You've got to wash your hand, wash your hands and watch your hands when you're wiping like I just did. So now I want to go in, and I'm going to call this a ribbon. I don't know what you guys want to call it, and it's not perfect, but I'm sort of giving it a little bit of a double line ribbon, what you will. And I don't want it to be perfect, which is a good excuse for me not to have it straight, but that's okay. I'm just gonna give it a little ribbony feel. So that's around that side. And then I feel like there's a lot of this dark black here. And so I wanna keep that going. And I'm gonna go back into these larger circles and make a little one. That's why I like this number 1 pen, because you can color in pretty fast. So I'm excited for Friday. I'm jumping ahead. I'm telling you guys about Friday because for a birthday present, my husband's stepmom, Joyce, who was so kind and sweet to me, gave me a David Austin certificate. And I'm going to be, and she let me borrow this book that had all these roses in it, and I'm going to be drawing from that book on Friday with black pen, so you can kind of see the process in my head of when I copy something. So I'm going to have the page in front of me so you can see how I use that as a reference, which I use a lot of stuff as references. In fact, okay, so what I did too is I mentally, as I'm looking at my pattern, I'm balancing and going back into each layer as I'm working on the outer layer, outer circle. I'm going back into the inner circle with more details if needed. Okay, so I'm really trying to like build it up and going in between the two. So now I want to build up on this outside. I think what I'm going to do is okay, I'm going to do another one of these arches. It's so fun to just do this on the fly and not have any idea. So it's like you guys are all sitting in my art studio with me doing these. Okay, so I'm going to do this sort of shape. And they will definitely not be symmetrical. I already know this one is smaller. So one of the places to get reference material is on Pinterest. And you guys can just type in mandalas or even Lotus Mandalas and see some really gorgeous designs, and you copy it if you want, as long as you don't sell it, but you can also just use it to think of new shapes and patterns. Now, if I had a really fancy high-tech phone and camera, I could be looking at the comments and you guys could be saying, do this one next. But I can't, I'm sorry. Okay, so I've got my building, and I think I'll do a triangle again. Let's see. And if I had, if we were sitting here all day, I might go in and color every other one of these in. But for today's little demo, I will spare you that. Oh, look, the sun's coming in. Hopefully not too bright, else we'll screw up the vision, but this will go with it. All right, so I'm going to, okay, I'm not gonna do a triangle. I'm gonna do like these little things. What should we call these? Little drops. Little dewdrops. Did I ever talk about how I hold my pen so wonky? I think I might have, but we noticed the other day that my youngest holds it wonky too. At the end of the day, if you can still use it, I guess it doesn't matter how you hold it. I used to be really concerned on how he held his pen and would make him change it all the time. And he's the artist of the family, so it's all fine how they hold it as long as they actually can write it and use it. Okay, so I've got my little drops here, and I'll just do a couple more layers here for you guys. And I think what I'll do is go back to this original kind of petal shape, see if I can make this look good. What happens is, it's already off-centered. The bigger you get, the harder it is to keep this symmetrical. So I faked it in there. I faked in a little. What I mean by that is sometimes if one side of my petal's off, I'll go in and make it like that ribbon idea. So I'm also turning my body a little bit as I'm doing this, because the bigger you go, it is a little harder to do it upside down. Okay, and so I've got the last one here. Okay, so I've got some, this is way bigger than that one, but it's fine. And I think what I'll do is do some, let's see. So my space here is a lot bigger than my space here. So now I have to kind of really think about that. Like, what do I want to do where it's not going to put my eye towards this little area here? So I think what I'll do is do some lines, connect them by lines. So I'll just do 3 lines like that, 3 lines like that. And a little info I read about the Lotus Flower mandala is that it offers hope and strength. That's so cool, because you know that lotus is the flower that comes through that muddy water, and it's so beautiful and clean. It's so pretty. There's so many beautiful things about the lotus flower. I can't grow one here, but I love them, and they're fun to draw. So Google or type in lotus flower into Pinterest too, and or into Google for images, and see how beautiful they can be. All right, so I'm going to do one more little outside thing in case you guys have fallen asleep. Okay, so I'm going to do little tiny triangles. Now, I have 4 here, and I'm going to do 4 here. I'm going to do 4 here. I might skip the sides, and I'll tell you why. My sides are not even, and I'll be jamming in 4 there. So I'm gonna only do 4 on the outer quadrants, and maybe I'll do another little, oh, that cute little circle here. And then we can be done with them. So if you guys are making them, make sure you send them to me. I love, love, love seeing them, and they're also beautiful. Oh my goodness. All the Zentangles, I love, love, love. Okay, so at this point, I'm like, okay, I think I'm pretty much done. I usually don't make them much bigger than this. I mean, you certainly can. You can keep going and fill in to the edges, and then do some really cool designs on the corner. I think by this time I've just spent enough time working on it that I feel like I'm not going to do it. But that would be a really fun thing to do, is to go to your edge and do some really fun corners. And then you could also do things like, you know, adding little dots in here to give it, you know, every time you add black to things, even if it's just black lines, black dots, black cross-hatching, it gives it some value, and also gives some dimension to your piece. It has a lot of interest. Instead of just being just the lines, you're giving it some more to look at. So this is another little thing you can do to add in some, it's not color, but value. And then you could, okay, I'm going to do one, and then you can get the idea. But these little, whatever we called them, arches with stripes. What are we called? Striped arches. So that idea, you could do the bottom and the top, the four sides, or all of them, and just brings, you know, more dimension to it. So I hope you guys liked that. Fun. And again, this was the Lotus flower that I found online that is so gorgeous. So it's totally inspired me to use something like this in a painting, and then just create, you know, your own kind and have fun with it. So I'm going to flip this back around. Maybe I'll see if there's a question or two in there. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay. So let's see. Lisa had a question. You can also do free mandalas non-symmetrical. Oh, definitely. In fact, I think most of mine are a little free flowing. I like to do most of my art. I like to free flow like that, and sometimes I get hung up that it's a little off center, and that's when I just start thinking it's just for fun and I'm having a good time. And that's why one of those original ones I showed with the flower and the petals are just wherever they are. But there is something about drawing in a circular fashion and either turning your page or building from a small little piece, building up like that. So I hope you guys had fun and that you are going to do some also. And then I just wanted to do a little inspirational, the universe has your back. Again, these are from my sister, and it's Gabrielle Bernstein, who is pretty awesome. And let me know if you check out that interview with my friend Renee. That will be posted right after this. Okay, we'll find it. Okay, the perfect one for today is, okay, here we go. The more energy and intention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. Oh, and look, it's a sweet hummingbird. Oh, and I love that this one was pulled and we were doing the mandalas and just, you know, that keeping that faith and being free of all that stuff. So you guys have a fantastic Wednesday and Thursday. And on Friday, I'll be doing a beautiful rose drawing, and you can follow along how I think about getting the rose that I see on a reference material onto paper. And I'll be doing it, I don't know, semi-big, but with these black pens. And I hope to see you guys then. And thinking about you all. And thanks again for coming on and joining me. It's like my little party. We have so much fun. Mwah! Big hugs. Love you guys. And I'll see you soon. Friday, 10 o'clock, PT. All right. Bye.